John chapter 8, introduction. Okay, so the previous chapter ended with all of them dispersing, and this chapter starts with Jesus going to the Mount of Olives. So they go home, they can't do anything. They hate Jesus, they don't care about Jesus, they're not going to listen to Jesus. They know Jesus is a deceiver, he's from the devil. That's all. They know it for a fact. They don't need to speak with him, they don't need to ask him questions. But the problem is the people are asking these questions, right? The soldiers are asking these questions. And so they are going to be forced into at least some kind of a discussion with Jesus. But it's not an open-ended discussion. It's not an open-minded, rather stated, discussion. Because they know Jesus is wrong. That's all. They're closed. They're closed-minded. Jesus is wrong. But for their sake, we need to get some kind of evidence against Jesus. That is why they're going to start asking these kinds of questions of Jesus. Why they're going to debate? Not because they want to know the truth. The truth will come out because how Jesus is using their discussions, right? But they were not interested in the truth at all because they're not there from the Father. Their father devil, as we're going to see in this chapter. Okay. So this is just the reason why they send people. Okay, so they're going to start off with this woman brought in adultery. Now, yes, I know in the earliest manuscripts it wasn't a part of the story. How do we need to interpret the story? This story at all does not contradict anything in the Bible. It clearly could have happened. And it could have happened as it's stated here under these circumstances and during this time. Sure, it's not contradicting. It could have. Sure, it could have. Why was it added? One doesn't know if, like say for example, if John was writing to the Jews of the day, to the leadership, maybe he didn't want to make such a big point of the story, so he kind of added in a rough draft kind of idea, but thinking again about it, it's like, okay, now I'm sending this draft to these guys, and this is what I give to Nicodemus, what he needs to spread amongst these people, so amongst the leadership, and to have them reminded of this big boo-boo they made with this woman, and then how they all had to admit, losing this fight literally, easily, without any doubt. That was not maybe such a politically correct thing or wise thing to do. Okay, I'm not for political correctness per se. I'm just, you need to be wise. Sometimes you say things, sometimes I've spoken about that as well, thought about that. Okay, so yes, maybe for that reason he had it and then he took it out. Or maybe he did not write it, and later on when he redacted or edited maybe the book, he added it. So it could have been John adding it, but at a later stage. Okay, that is a possibility as well. Like Calvin starting off with his institutes, with his first institutes that he wrote when he was a student. And like I said earlier, I haven't read any of them. I mean, I've read some of it, but very, very few. I've seen lots of quotes from it. Just didn't have the time yet. Maybe it's too difficult for me to read. Anyhow. Yeah, those guys in those days were a lot more brilliant. And so his first institutes were very thin, and as he edited and re-edited and reworked it, it grew very thick into 3 books, literally 4 books. Well, 3 books, but like a third and fourth one, as far as I know, was like 1 book. So why couldn't John kind of do the same thing just here and there? Maybe the addition there in the end with his death and Peter's death, maybe, right? Although I don't think it needs to be. This story might be the only place of maybe a re-editing kind of going on. So, although it's not in the earliest, it still can be from John, right? Edited at a later date. But it does not change anything. And I think it actually fits perfectly in this chapter. Why? Because there's a lot of discussion concerning Father. Who's your Father? Father God, Father the devil, kind of idea, right? And they imply that, your father is a Samaritan, because there were all these stories running around concerning Jesus that, Mary, she was pregnant by the time before she got married, kind of, So Joseph clearly is not the father, right? I mean, that's why Joseph kind of wanted to get rid of her. And yeah, okay, so she was just a virgin. Okay, we come up with that excuse. No, that one it doesn't go down very well with the world. neither with the Pharisees. So yeah, clearly we can see, and they had still this discussion going on concerning Jesus, and according to them and the stories that they were spreading, or were spread concerning Jesus, ultimately was that they would not have been spreading the stories in the beginning because then nobody cared, but maybe a few neighbors there and here and there in the old days. But now when Jesus became like this preacher, this teacher, rabbi, sure, the stories would start spreading a lot more, because they would try and find anything to attack Jesus, right? That's kind of normal. And so, come up with a story that his father's a Samaritan. That's good. So we don't need to listen to any of what you're saying, because you are illegitimate, right? Illegitimate child, and your father, you're a demon, you're kind of, right? So since a lot of discussion is going on concerning then who's your father, etc., right? This therefore exactly perfectly fits in with this discussion. So like this woman is like now Mary, okay? So like showing Jesus, throw this into his face. See, here's someone like your mother who had intercourse with a man before she got married. So you are born from out of wedlock, kind of idea, right? This woman is like your mother. Okay, are you going to kill this woman, this Mary, kind of idea? No, her name wasn't Mary, but that's what we were implying. And sure, according to the law, this is actually what they're supposed to do, but they were again breaking the law, because the guy that she did it with, they caught her in the act. Now that guy was supposed to be there as well. So they were breaking the law, and that's kind of the point, but we'll get into teaching to that part. But yeah, so I think that is the reason why this chapter starts like this, and why they did this. And then ultimately Jesus is going to use this to lead into this discussion concerning ultimately fatherhood. In between, he throws in the idea that he's the light of the world. I am the light of the world. He spoke in chapter 3 concerning that people don't want to come to the light. Chapter 1, that he's the light. In chapter 3, that people don't want to come to the light because the deeds are evil. Okay, so here now he's coming to say, he is. You come to me, you will not walk in darkness, you'll have life. You will have light of life. He mentioned again that they can't come where he is, and they were like, oh, are you going to kill yourself? In the previous chapter, they were like, oh, you're going to go to dispersion. Now in this case, I couldn't say that again, so because I knew, kind of maybe thinking about it again, that's kind of stupid. So like, you're going to kill us, and we're sure not going to kill us. Well, they could, but still at least kind of most like, that kind of, in that sense, maybe less of a possibility. And then again, speaking about judgment, and we'll get to all of this. About the testimony of true people, and then Jesus again speaking about those who are bearing witness concerning him, and the Father is one sending, bearing witness concerning him, yeah. So they ask, where's your father? Right? Tell us, where's your father? So that, where is your father? Is he a Roman soldier or is he a Samaritan? Kind of idea, right? And he said, no, you don't know my father. If you knew, this, then you would have believed. Ultimately, you would have known my father as well. Again, saying, you will go away, you will die in your sin, and they were like, are you going to kill yourself? That they are from below, he's from above. They'll die in their sins. And again, they're asking you, Jesus, who he is, and he's saying, I've been telling you, it's not a secret, in a long time not a secret anymore, it's not hidden knowledge here, right? And they didn't know what Jesus was speaking about the Father. Then he spoke again about the lifting up of the Son of Man. He spoke about that already in chapter 3 to Nicodemus, here speaking again about it. And just remember, Nicodemus might have been there somewhere in the picture. Okay, was Jesus winking at Nicodemus when he said these kinds of things? I might have, but that's me, it's not Jesus. That the Father is with him and he's not alone. Why? Because he's doing the things that the Father told him to do. And so again, many believed, but the difference here now in this case is they believed the words, not the deeds, not the signs, the words. That is the important point, and that's what John's getting at, believing the words of Jesus, not the signs, not all those kinds of things, the words of Jesus. Believe in Jesus, believe in his words, you'll believe in him.